Hello, we got a new chair, so I'm still trying to figure out the angles and everything like that, because I just feel like there's like more space on this side now, but I guess it means that I can, like, I don't know, am I more in the middle now? I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to do a little bit of a book review today because I finished this book and it's so different to anything I've read before, but it's also at the same time something that I really have been wanting in a book, I guess. I don't know how to quite explain that, because a lot of people have tried this sort of style, and you know, I'll get more into it as the book review goes on, but a lot of people have tried this sort of unreliable narrator and everything like that. Like, that's not a new style of writing in fiction, but I just feel like very few authors have been able to do it really well. This author is definitely one of them, in my opinion. So the book I'm reviewing is My Husband by Maud Ventura. This is a short little book. It's considered a psychological drama. Basically, we follow the perspective of this 40-year-old woman who is married to her husband. She has 2 kids, and she lives in France. So this book is originally written in French, I think, and was like translated into English. Yeah, so we follow this woman. She has a husband, she's got 2 kids, she's in her 40s. She is a language teacher, so she teaches English. She teaches English in a French school, and she also does like English translations, I think. Oh no, French translations. So she works for a publisher that like has books that are written in a different language, and then she translates them into French. So that is sort of the exterior setting that we're sort of dealing with. This book is written solely from the perspective of this woman. We don't know her, I don't think we have her name. We don't have her name, and we also don't have the husband's name. She just says my husband. And basically the whole book is her being really obsessed with her husband and like wanting to do everything to please him, to make sure that he pays attention to her. Like, she even says, I love my kids, but I wish they didn't exist, just so I can spend like all my time with my husband. That's kind of like her mindset, basically. So in the beginning of the book, the very first, not even the first chapter, I think it's the prologue, we start off on a Sunday, I think. Yeah, we start off on a Sunday or a Monday. Oh god, I can't remember. Let me double check what the prologue starts with, because this book does follow each chapter is like each day of the week and sort of what she does, basically. So let me have a look. Okay, yeah, so the prologue starts on a Sunday, and the first paragraph is basically her going about her morning, and then at the end of the paragraph, her husband is like, we need to talk, and she ends up freaking out, and she's like, I think this is over. And then we cut to chapter 1, which is like a week before. So we start off on a Monday, all the way through the week until we get to where the prologue was, which is a Sunday. So yes, I really like this book. Like I mentioned earlier, it is following an unreliable narrator just because we only get her point of view. We don't get anyone else's. We don't really even get like the scope of the world that she lives in. Everything feels very in her head, and what she thinks about things, what she thinks about people, how she judges people, how she thinks people view her, and how she wants people to view her. It's all very much in her head. So you follow this woman's thought process throughout this whole week basically, and it's really interesting. I don't know how else to, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just, you have to experience it for yourself. I would say that a lot of the times this type of writing style where you're following, you're inside someone's head and it's first person and everything like that, sometimes that can become a little bit meandering and a little bit stream of consciousness. But I think the author has done a really good job in still letting her writing style shine through, because it feels very carefully crafted. I don't know how to, like, it's not like flowery writing or anything like that, but it is very carefully crafted writing. Like I always say with like Courtney Summers, her writing style isn't like flowery or atmospheric or anything like that, but it is, you can tell that every single word she uses is very intentional, and it's like she chose those words very carefully to try to paint an image in your head. And that's the way I feel about this author as well, even though from a first glance it doesn't seem like the writing style is anything special. I think there is something very special in being able to get a thought across in short sentences and in very quick one-liners and like quick paragraphs and everything like that, because the chapters are not very long. And that was like part of the reason why I got through it very quickly, because it's very quick to read, but it's not like, it's not like in a way where you're just reading someone's diary. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know how to explain the writing style except the way I just did, I guess. The character itself I found so interesting, because you could tell that, well, in the beginning you could tell that there is something going on in her head. You could tell that there is something happening, even though like the actual external plot is very mundane. You can tell that there is something happening, but it's so easy to create a villain kind of character, right? Like she is obsessive, so you could easily write this off as a woman who is just a crazy person who is like obsessive. But there are certain parts of this book, certain things that she talks about her relationship and about how much she loves her husband, where you're like, that's a bit much, but I understand where you're coming from. Do you know what I mean? So I thought that was really interesting about this character. It's like a really nice balance of like, she's crazy but she's not though. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how else to explain that. Again, it's just a very interesting character to me. And like I said, a lot of people try to do the unreliable narrator thing, or like the slice of life kind of, you know, a Tessa Moshfegh kind of a kind of a thing where you just follow someone's life and you don't know if they're good or bad, and like you know, that kind of, you know, like My Year of Rest and Relaxation, for example. I felt like I like the idea of My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I just felt like the plot meandered, and this one definitely has a solid plot, and it's very straightforward, and it just delivered to what it promised to deliver, you know. So I really like that. The only thing I didn't like about this book was the epilogue, because so you go throughout the book and you have this one idea of the story, and you're like, okay, I get it, this is interesting. And then you get to the end of the book and you get a conclusion, and then you get to the epilogue, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about the epilogue. Let me know if you've read it and what you think of the epilogue, because I don't know if I like it or hate it. I think it changed my perspective of this book, but I don't know if I liked that about it, you know. So yeah, that's kind of the only thing I didn't like about it. So it's a very, very good book. I would highly recommend it. I know this book review is very all over the place, but I honestly don't know how to talk about this book without like spoiling it. Let me know if you read this book or if you're planning to read it down in the comments below. Like this video if you liked it, and I will see you in another video soon.